All right. Game of the year winner is Elden Ring.
So I played the original God of War 2018 version, fell in love with it, and it was right on time, right before Ragnarok came out, which was the second game in the series. I thought there would be no way for the sequel to be better than the 2018 version, because I really loved 2018 God of War, which I didn't think I would, but I did. And I just did not think the sequel would be better, or that much better, than its predecessor. And the words of my favorite God of War,
I was wrong.
So God of War Ragnarok takes place 3 years after the events of the original God of War. The opening is exactly like you'd expect. High intense, movie-esque cutscenes integrated with the gameplay. Big boss battles, you already know. And in the last game, it was Baldur who you fought in the beginning, the opening cutscene. Baldur was probably one of my most memorable boss battles, just because it was so unexpected, and you really felt like you were beating a god. But this time, you had 3 gods come to your door, bro. You had Freya, who was fighting you on your way back to your home. Then Thor shows up, and then the big boy Odin himself shows up at your door. So, already setting the entire scene for the rest of the game. You know, you feel Odin's manipulation as soon as you see him. Because you already know the stories. You already heard them all. And it just set the tone perfectly. The visual fidelity in this game is bar none. This game is beautiful. Bunch of new environments that all look diverse. And of course, stellar acting across the board. You got Christopher Judge, and you have Sonny Soljic, who both were nominated for Best Voice Acting in the Game Awards. So Ragnarok is coming, which is the destruction of all realms, and all eyes are on Odin right now. The gameplay from the first game is streamlined in Ragnarok. There's a verticality now with the blades. You can grapple like a hookshot in Legend of Zelda. You can grapple up to enemies that may be raining fire down on you. So it adds for a little bit more versatility with combat, and also allows for a little more freedom as well. Sometimes when you're in combat, you'll see that there are destructible elements that can be targeted to, easily take down a enemy, or you'll see parts of the environment that are interactable that can be used to take a good chunk of health off of certain enemies. Also, I really, really love the addition of the new weapon that you get, which is the Draupnir Spear. It's basically a spear that is like infinite in number, so you could throw it and it just respawns back to you. You keep generating an infinite amount of these spears, and I love just throwing a bunch of them into an enemy and just slamming down the spear, just exploding it. So satisfying. But one of my favorite things to do with all the weapons against a horde of enemies is just switching between them and having the ability to do fire damage, ice damage, air damage. All of that it feels like it's flowing, right? When you take out the axe, you freeze an enemy in place, take out the blades, and start, hacking them. And then you can use your distance, get your distance again, and just use a spear and throw some more. So a bunch of the dynamics of the combat are increased because of the addition of this new weapon. And it's really, really, really fun. You thought the first game's combat was addicting. This one was very much addicting. Of course, I love comparing the armor sets to see which one is the best, which one is the greatest at the end of upgrading it all the way to the max. So you get a bunch of that again here. Doesn't change, and it's still very, very fun.
It's war. Wars are won by those who are willing to sacrifice everything.
Listen closely. You feel their pain because that is who you are. Open your heart. Open your heart to their suffering. That is your mother's wish. And mine as well. Today's. Today, we will be better.
So the combat and the music has always been good in the God of War series, but the thing that shines amongst everything is the characters and the story. I'm sorry if I shift my tone, but it feels like this game is a lot more emotional than the first game. It's just beautiful irony that a game filled with gods have deeply emotional and human level conflicts. There's just a certain poetry in that. God of War Ragnarok really takes us on an emotional journey. You know, it deals with a bunch of deep topics: guilt, trust, shame, letting go, opening up, trusting.
Ow! Get out of me!
To grieve deeply is to have loved fully. Open your heart to the world as you have opened it to me, and you will find every reason to keep living in it.
Maybe if I go back to the lake.
Stop it. I know what you've done. And I forgive you. But you gotta stop.
Or destroy us. No more. No more. For the sake of our children, we must be better.
The whole cast feels like a family because I can see myself in all of their struggles in a way. And it's crazy because during the dialogue, I can take some wisdom out of what they're saying. There actually is wisdom within the words of the dialogue in this game. And it's like, wow, like I really should consider that. I really should apply that to my own life. But struggling with the faults isn't what makes these characters and stories so exceptional. It's the ability to overcome what they have gone through, go beyond what their natural instinct is to do, and actually change for the better. The game isn't perfect. I know that that's just an obvious statement. You could literally say that about every single game. Asgard was pretty rushed. All the aspects leading up to it. Ragnarok felt a little bit too easy. But at the end of the day, it's not the grand, full-scale wars against Odin that I'm gonna cherish in my heart. I'm gonna remember it because it's great set piece, but that's not what I'm gonna take with me once I'm finished with the game. It's the wars that the characters go through within themselves, within their own minds, within their own hearts. It sounds crazy to say a game can move me and bring me to literally tears in certain scenes, but that's exactly what happened. The choices we make after the mistakes we've done define us, not the mistakes themselves. And the game really taught me this and really showed me this. And maybe a lot of you already know this, you know, but for others like myself, you know, we didn't really understand it as much. I cried like a baby when I saw Brock forgive. You know, in his final moments, he told his brother to let go. He knows he loves him. And he said, you know, I forgive you. I forgive you for doing this because I know what you did. I know what your intentions are. Mimir, when he called him his second father, I lost it, because that's exactly how it felt to me too, through the perspective of Atreus. He embraces Freya as well. Like they have like this mother and son kind of bond now. And most of all, seeing a furious and vengeful God of War change his ways, develop himself so much to become a respected and loved God of peace. And if that's not poetry, I don't know what is.
Don't you know what I've done?
Yes! But what will you do now?
Thank you very much for whoever, or if anyone is watching this. Really like talking about games, and I really like reviewing. It's become sort of a hobby. Takes my mind off of things, you know? Gives me some things to do. You already know. So if you liked the video, please like the video. and comment what you thought about it. Let me know what you think, and I'll respond. All that YouTuber stuff you already know, and I think that's it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video.